I sit cross-legged on my hardwood floor, surrounded by a sea of glossy photographs. The Vermont wedding I shot last weekend turned out even better than I hoped. The bride's cream-colored gown against the autumn foliage created exactly the contrast I was aiming for. My favorite shot captures the couple beneath a canopy of maple trees, their fingers barely touching as fallen leaves swirl around them. The phone rings. My mother's name flashes on the screen. I hesitate before answering, my finger hovering over the accept button. "Hi, Mom." I tuck the phone between my ear and shoulder, still organizing photos into potential album layouts. "Courtney." Her voice carries that familiar crisp edge. "I need to talk to you about Lily's wedding." I smile, thinking about my sister's upcoming Miami ceremony. I was actually planning to call her this week. "I have some ideas for photography that would be perfect for. You'll ruin your sister's wedding. Don't come." My coffee cup slips from my hand, shattering against the floor. Hot liquid splashes across the photographs, ruining hours of work. I barely notice. "What?" My voice sounds distant, like it belongs to someone else. "Lily needs all the attention." Margaret continues, her voice firm and unyielding. "Your success would overshadow her day." The room spins as I grip the edge of my desk. "Mom, that doesn't make any sense. I'm her only sister. All guests have received their invitations." Each word lands like a hammer blow. "Everyone except you." My stomach lurches. The familiar feeling of childhood abandonment floods back, being left out of family photos. Watching my artwork removed from the refrigerator to make room for Lily's stick figures. Sitting alone at the kids' table during Thanksgiving, while Lily perched on Dad's lap at the adults' table. "Mom, I'm her only sister. I've photographed 180 weddings. I could help." I hate the pleading tone in my voice, but can't seem to stop it. "This doesn't make any sense. Think of it as your gift to Lily," Margaret says, her voice softening into something worse than anger, pity. "You've always needed to be the center of attention. For once, let your sister have her moment." My throat tightens. "Let me talk to Lily. This can't be what she wants." She agrees completely. This was partly her idea. The lie hangs between us. Or maybe it isn't a lie, which would hurt even more. I hang up without saying goodbye and immediately dial my father. He answers on the second ring. "Court, everything okay?" "Dad, Mom just told me I'm not invited to Lily's wedding." "That can't be right." The pause tells me everything I need to know before he even speaks. "It's for the best." "Court." His voice carries the same defeated tone he used when telling me I couldn't display my photography trophy, the one I won at 12, because Lily wouldn't feel bad. "You don't mean that." I press my palm against my forehead, trying to keep the room from spinning. "Your absence is a gift to your sister," he says. "Be selfless for once." The words slice through years of pretending this dynamic didn't exist. My mind flashes to Ethan, framing my first magazine cover, opening champagne at midnight to celebrate when it arrived. His genuine pride contrasted sharply with my parents' uncomfortable silence when I'd sent them a copy. I looked down at the ruined photographs on my floor, moments I'd captured of strangers looking at each other with more love than my family has ever shown me. "I won't beg for an invitation to my own sister's wedding." The words emerge stronger than I expect. "Don't be dramatic." My mother's voice cuts in. "They must be on speakerphone. Think about someone besides yourself. I've spent my entire life thinking about everyone else." My voice remains steady despite the earthquake happening inside me. "Hiding my accomplishments. Making myself smaller. All your cousins will be there," my father says. "Everyone's looking forward to celebrating with Lily. Don't make this difficult." The unspoken message is clear. The family narrative about me, the selfish, attention-seeking older sister, has already been established. They control how the extended family sees me. "I understand," I say finally. Though I don't. Not really. What I understand is that this pattern will continue forever unless I break it. My professional confidence and personal happiness can't survive if I keep accepting this treatment. I end the call just as I hear the front door open. Ethan walks in, his camera bag slung over one shoulder, stopping short when he sees me surrounded by broken ceramic and coffee-stained wedding photos. "Courtney, what happened?" His concern stands in stark contrast to the coldness I just experienced from my parents. The words tumble out between sobs: the uninvitation, my parents' justifications, the lifetime of being diminished to make my sister shine brighter. Ethan kneels beside me, careful to avoid the broken mug fragments. "They've done this your entire life. It's not right." He helps me salvage the photos that weren't ruined, his hands gentle as he blots coffee from the prints. We work in silence for several minutes before he speaks again. "Your sister's wedding is about her," he says quietly. "But your life is about you." I look up at him, suddenly seeing clearly what I've been missing all these years. The choice isn't between attending my sister's wedding or staying home. The choice is between continuing to make myself smaller or finally standing at my full height. I've spent my life making myself smaller. I whisper, a new resolve taking shape. Maybe it's time to stand tall. 3 weeks pass like molasses. I try burying myself in work, editing wedding albums until my eyes blur. But my phone remains silent. No calls from my mother. No texts from Lily. The wound of being uninvited to my own sister's wedding festers beneath a veneer of normalcy. Until Amanda calls. Court, you won't believe what Lily just posted. Amanda's voice crackles through my speaker as I balance phone and coffee mug, scrolling through client emails. Amanda has been friends with both me and Lily since high school, straddling the uncomfortable divide between us. I'm not sure I want to know, I say. But curiosity pricks at me. Miami Beach. $800,000 budget. White tulip centerpieces flown in from Holland. 8-course dinner with a celebrity chef. My stomach twists. $800,000? That's nearly double what they originally planned. Bradley's parents offered to cover most of it. Amanda says, her voice dropping to a whisper. Court, there's something else. I had lunch with Jenny yesterday. She's in the wedding party. My fingers tighten around my mug. And? Bradley told Lily he didn't want you there. Said you make everything about yourself. The coffee scalds my throat as I swallow too quickly. He's never even met me. Jenny overheard Lily telling him stories. About how you stole attention at her sweet 16. About your scholarship ceremony overshadowing her debate team win. None of this happened. The scholarship ceremony lasted 10 minutes before my parents insisted we hurry to Lily's debate competition. We never even stopped for celebratory ice cream. After ending the call, I open Instagram. My mother's latest post jumps from the screen. A photo of Lily and Bradley surrounded by white roses, champagne flutes raised toward the camera. The caption reads, sometimes the kindest thing is to step back and let others shine. The hidden message couldn't be clearer if she'd tagged me. I spend the afternoon digging through family albums stored in our spare room closet. With each photograph, patterns emerge that I somehow missed for years. In nearly every family portrait, I stand slightly behind Lily, positioned off-center. My grandparents' pride in my first photography exhibit noticeably dimmed after my mother whispered something in their ears. The time my father asked me to tone down my excitement when I won state photography competition because Lily had a rough week. It wasn't isolated incidents. It was systematic. Ethan finds me surrounded by photographs when he returns from filming. Without a word, he sits beside me on the floor, picking up a family beach vacation picture where my smile looks strained. Look at this, he says, pulling up his laptop. He opens a folder labeled Courtney Client Reviews and begins reading. Courtney Palmer didn't just photograph our wedding. She captured the exact moment I realized I would spend my life with this person. She has a gift for seeing people as they truly are. He reads another. Every time we look at our wedding album, we relive the day through Courtney's eyes. She made our day magical. Then another and another dozens of testimonials, praising not just my technical skill but my ability to capture authentic emotion. A stark contrast to my family's narrative. These people see you, Ethan says simply. Your family can't. I stare at the photograph in my hand, 16-year-old me holding my first DSLR camera, careful not to smile too broadly because Lily had just received AB on her math test. My whole life, I thought if I just achieved enough, they'd finally be proud. But that was never the deal, was it? The deal was that I would always diminish myself so Lily could feel exceptional. That's their story, Ethan says, not yours. Past midnight, my phone buzzes. Lily's name illuminates the screen. I consider letting it go to voicemail, but some stubborn hope makes me answer. Hey, she says, her words slightly slurred. Are you awake? I am now. I'm at Hannah's bachelorette weekend. Everyone's asleep but me. A pause. I miss you, Court. The familiar ache returns. Then why aren't I invited to your wedding? She sighs heavily. Mom's afraid you'll charm everyone. You always do. Another pause. Bradley's parents have all these important connections. The wedding has to be perfect. And I'd ruin it by existing? You don't understand what it's like, Lily whispers. Sometimes it's hard being the favorite. The expectations crush me. I almost laugh at the absurdity. You're worried about expectations? I've spent my entire life trying not to outshine you. That's not true. It is, and deep down you know it. Silence stretches between us. Finally, she says, I should go, and hangs up. I sit motionless in the dark living room until Ethan finds me there an hour later. His eyes, sleepy but concerned, scan my face. What if we got away for the weekend? He suggests, pulling me against him. Clear your head. The next evening, we meet my photographer friends Sophia and Michael for dinner. I haven't told them about the wedding situation. But somehow, they've heard. Your family can't see your light. Sophia says fiercely over pasta, because they're the ones dimming it. Michael leans forward. This isn't about winning or losing Court. It's about reclaiming your narrative. How? I ask. Sophia smiles. By living well. By creating something beautiful. Their words roll through my mind as Ethan and I walk home through the cool Seattle evening. Stars poke through the city's light pollution, remote and steady. They're right, I say finally. If I keep seeking their approval, I'll never stop making myself smaller. Ethan squeezes my hand. Then stand tall. I look up at the narrow strip of night sky visible between buildings, feeling something shift inside me, not just anger or hurt, but determination. For 27 years, I've lived by their rules, even from a distance, waiting for permission to take up space. To shine. I'm done shrinking, I say. The words settling into my bones like truth. I spread travel brochures across the coffee table in our cabin rental. After that devastating call from my parents, Ethan had insisted we needed a weekend away from Seattle to clear our heads. Lake Chelan in early summer offers exactly what we need: distance from family drama and space to breathe. Court, come look at this. Ethan waves me over from the deck where I've been photographing the sunset. His laptop screen glows with images of a stone villa perched on cliffs above impossibly blue water. What am I looking at? I settle beside him on the couch, still clutching my camera. Remember Giovanni, the director from the Milan documentary last year? I nod, recalling the elderly Italian filmmaker with wild silver hair who'd taken an immediate liking to Ethan during their collaboration. He rents his family villa for small weddings. Ethan clicks through photos: a stone terrace overlooking the Amalfi Coast, flowering vines cascading down ancient walls. A view that stretches forever across the Mediterranean. It's beautiful, I murmur, but my stomach tightens. We've been together 4 years and haven't seriously discussed marriage. Not because we don't want it, but because we've been postponing our happiness to avoid their disapproval. Ethan says it so plainly that I jerk my head up to meet his gaze. What? Think about it, Court. How many times have we talked about getting married someday? But we always find reasons to wait. The truth of his words hits me like a physical blow. I've been arranging my entire life around my family's approval, or rather, the desperate hope of someday earning it. For years of building our life together while waiting for permission from people who will never give it. Ethan takes my hand. Look at these dates. September 15th is available. My photographer's eye immediately calculates the angles. The light. That's perfect golden hour timing on the Amalfi Coast. 1 month before Lily's wedding, he adds softly. I look at him sharply. You think we should get married right before my sister? I think we should get married when and where we want to. We could have exactly the wedding we want, Court. Not some production to please your parents or compete with Lily. Oh, so? He's right. Even from across the country, I've been living by their rules, waiting for some mythical moment when they might finally see me, support me, celebrate me. September 15th. I whisper. My mind already composing shots. Evening light on ancient stone. Jasmine scent carried on sea breezes. Ethan waiting for me against a backdrop of endless blue. Is that a yes? His smile is cautious but hopeful. I laugh, the sound surprising both of us. Yes, let's do it. For the first time since that devastating phone call, I feel something other than hurt. Something that feels dangerously like power. The next morning, I wake with surprising clarity. I find my phone and take it onto the deck, away from Ethan's sleeping form. Margaret answers on the third ring. Courtney, is everything all right? Her concerned tone almost makes me laugh, as if I only call when something's wrong, which, to be fair, has been the pattern lately. Everything's fine, Mom. Better than fine, actually. I keep my voice calm, measured. I wanted to let you know that Ethan and I are getting married. Silence stretches between us. Then, what? When did this happen? We've been together 4 years. The timing feels right. I watch an osprey circle above the lake. We found a perfect spot in Amalfi. Just 25 guests. Very intimate. You can't possibly plan a wedding while Lily is planning hers. The edge in her voice is familiar. Do you have any idea how stressed she is with all the details? This will upset her terribly. And, in the past, those words would have made me backtrack, apologize, minimize. Today, they simply wash over me. I'm not asking permission, Mom. I'm sharing news. My voice remains steady. Our small ceremony won't affect Lily's wedding at all. This is exactly what I mean about you always needing attention. She snaps. First, you make a fuss about not being invited to Lily's wedding, and now you're planning your own right before hers? I take a deep breath. This isn't about Lily. This is about the life Ethan and I are building. Richard. I hear her call to my father. Courtney is trying to upstage Lily's wedding with her own. I close my eyes, but instead of the familiar shame, I feel strangely calm. I need to go, Mom. I just wanted you to hear it from me directly. Courtney. Goodbye, Mom. I end the call on my terms, not hers. The osprey dives toward the lake's surface, emerging with a fish in its talons. I sit in the morning sun, waiting for the guilt and doubt to come. Instead, I feel only lightness. When I return inside, Ethan is making coffee. How'd it go? Exactly as expected. I smile, surprising myself. She thinks I'm trying to upstage Lily, but I didn't apologize, didn't back down, didn't make myself smaller. He hands me a steaming mug. Proud of you. My phone buzzes with texts from Jasmine and Taylor, two photographer friends I'd messaged last night about our plans. They both want to photograph the ceremony. I tell Ethan, scrolling through their enthusiastic responses. They say it's about time someone captured my moments instead of just everyone else's. Ethan grins. I email Giovanni. He's thrilled to host us, says the light that week is magical. More messages arrive throughout the day, my wedding clients from the past 2 years offering connections to Italian vendors, suggestions for music, promises to help however they can. The avalanche of support takes my breath away. Late that afternoon, Ethan's laptop pings with an email confirmation from Giovanni, including a personal note. My villa has hosted many weddings, but rarely ones between true artists who understand how to capture beauty. The house awaits your vision. I study the attached photos, already planning compositions, lighting setups, the exact moment when the setting sun will paint the stone walls gold. For the first time, I understand why my clients cry when they see my work. The power of having someone truly see your love story and capture it in its most perfect light. Should we invite them? I ask Ethan that evening as we watch stars appear over the lake. My family? Risk the drama? Or focus on creating our perfect day without their shadow? He wraps his arm around me. That's entirely your call. But remember, wedding photographer extraordinaire, what matters most in those moments you capture? Authenticity. I answer without hesitation. Then that's your answer. He kisses the top of my head. Whatever choice feels most authentic to you. I lean against him, watching the constellations emerge. The question suddenly seems less important than the realization that for the first time in my life, I'm making choices without calculating their effect on my family's approval. If this small act of independence feels this liberating, what might complete freedom from their judgment feel like? I spread out my portfolio on the living room floor, arranging wedding albums in a semicircle around me. It's been exactly 1 week since we booked Giovanni's villa on the Amalfi Coast, and the initial euphoria has settled into something more substantial, a quiet determination. What's all this? Ethan asks, stepping carefully between the albums. Research. I tap the cover of a winter wedding I shot in Vermont. I've photographed 180 weddings, but I've never analyzed what actually makes them meaningful. Our apartment has transformed into a command center. The dining table displays timeline charts, the walls showcase inspiration boards, and color-coded guest lists occupy every flat surface. My industry connections, florists, caterers have all reached out after hearing our news, but I'm filtering every offer through a single question. Does this authentically reflect us? Ethan sits cross-legged beside me, paging through an album from a Napa Valley ceremony. This doesn't feel like you're planning revenge anymore. It's not revenge, I say, studying a candid reception shot where the groom's elderly grandmother dances with a flower girl. This is about creating something genuine. The satisfaction I felt telling my mother about our wedding plans has faded. That momentary victory wasn't enough. What matters now is building something authentic, not reacting to their exclusion. I pull out my notebook where I've been studying techniques to document our own ceremony. Since we're both behind cameras professionally, I want to ensure we capture our day properly. I need to approach this like my most important wedding assignment, I tell Ethan. That means analyzing every component objectively. In my professional shoots, I constantly look for unguarded moments of father tearing up, hands intertwining, laughter during the vows. Those split seconds reveal more than any post-portrait. Now I'm applying that same analytical eye to our ceremony. What if we treated this like a documentary? Ethan suggests, his filmmaker instinct emerging. Let's tell our story, not theirs. I nod, already sorting through my portfolio for examples. Which moments actually matter? When I look through thousands of weddings I've shot, the same elements consistently resonate. Together we begin examining my collection of photographs, identifying what creates authenticity. Not the expensive centerpieces or designer gowns, but the raw emotion captured when couples think no one is watching. We need Maria and Alex. I decide, referring to photographer friends whose work I've always admired. They understand my vision and can document while we experience. Ethan makes a note. Giovanni emailed this morning about local vendors and legal requirements. The paperwork needs filing 6 weeks before the ceremony. Harmon. We spend the afternoon coordinating logistics, cross-referencing with Italian marriage requirements, and selecting the few guests who've consistently supported us. Each decision feels like laying another brick in a foundation that has nothing to do with my family and everything to do with our future. The phone rings late that evening. My cousin Amanda's name appears on the screen. Courtney, she says without greeting. Lily just called me hysterical. She heard about your Italian wedding from Bradley's cousin who follows your friend Maria on Instagram. My stomach tightens. And? Your mom is calling everyone in the family. She's telling people you're deliberately sabotaging Lily's special time. I close my eyes, visualizing the network expanding. Aunts, uncles, cousins, all receiving carefully crafted messages portraying me as the villain. What did you tell her? Consider, I ask. I said I needed to talk to you first, Amanda says, her voice softening. Court, are you doing this to get back at them? The question hangs between us. A week ago the answer might have been yes. Now, looking at our meticulously crafted plans spread across the apartment, I know differently. We're creating something authentic, I tell her. Not competing with anyone. After hanging up, I find Ethan standing in the doorway, concern etched on his face. They're mobilizing the extended family, I say. He steps forward, placing his hands on my shoulders. Does that change anything for us? I look around at our command center, every element selected to reflect our values rather than respond to their rejection. No, I say with certainty. We keep building. 3 days later I stand at the window of our apartment, sunlight spilling across my open laptop where Giovanni's latest email glows on the screen. The Amalfi Coast villa looks even more perfect in the new photos he sent. Weathered stone walls draped with flowering vines. A terrace overlooking the Mediterranean. And the ancient olive trees that will provide branches for our ceremony. Did you see what Giovanni found? I call to Ethan, who's arranging camera equipment in the living room, a local florist who specializes in jasmine garlands. The scent will be incredible at sunset. Ethan looks up from his packing, a smile spreading across his face. That's exactly what we talked about. The documentary crew is confirmed too. Marco and Sarah will handle the main coverage while I focus on just being your groom. Our living room has transformed into a command center over the past weeks. Inspiration boards line the walls with fabric swatches in natural tones, sketches of table arrangements, and lighting diagrams for the golden hour when we'll exchange vows. No detail has been left to chance. I finalized the invitations this morning, I say, sliding a cream-colored envelope across the table toward him. Inside is a handcrafted card with pressed olive leaves and our names in simple calligraphy. Just 25 people who've consistently been there for us. Ethan examines the invitation, running his finger over the raised lettering. Perfect. Elegant without being showy. He meets my eyes. This is about creating memories that matter, not impressing anyone. I nod, feeling a calm certainty that has replaced the frantic energy of our initial planning. We're building something authentic. Something that reflects who we are as a couple and as individuals. Each decision feels right in a way I never experienced when trying to please my family. My phone buzzes on the table. Lily's name appears on the screen. My stomach tightens as I pick it up, scanning the message. The Italian consulate said you filed for a marriage license. Why are you trying to steal my spotlight? My hands tremble slightly as I set the phone down. Lily knows about the license. I show Ethan the message. How would she even find that out? Your mother must have connections, Ethan says quietly. Or they've been watching closely. What if they try to interfere? The question slips out before I can stop it. What if they contact Giovanni or try to turn our guests against us? Ethan takes my hands, his grip steady and warm. Then we adapt. We've already decided who matters in our lives. The people coming to Italy are the ones who truly support us. My phone buzzes again with another text. This time from my cousin Jenna. Aunt Margaret called asking about your Italian wedding. She seems really upset. What's going on? Then another message from my college roommate. Your dad just reached out about some wedding in Italy. Are you okay? I close my eyes, feeling the walls closing in. They're mobilizing the extended family, just as they did with the Miami wedding. The familiar pattern of pressure and guilt sweeps over me. They're contacting everyone, I whisper, making me sound selfish again. That was always their plan, Ethan says. Question is, do we engage with these accusations or stay focused on our vision? I look around at our carefully crafted plans, the result of weeks of thoughtful consideration. I don't want to get pulled into their drama. This isn't about them. Later that evening, after securing our venue's privacy settings and alerting our small guest list about potential contact from my family, I step onto our balcony. Seattle's lights flicker below as I breathe in the cool air, feeling strangely calm despite the storm brewing. My phone rings. Giovanni's name flashes on the screen. Courtney, I received a strange call today, he begins, his Italian accent more pronounced than usual. A woman claiming to be your mother asked many questions about the ceremony. My heart sinks. I'm so sorry, Giovanni. My family situation is complicated. Do not worry, he says firmly. I told her nothing. Your day will be perfect. Italian privacy laws protect you, and I have informed my staff. No uninvited guests will disturb your celebration. Relief washes over me. Thank you. After we hang up, Ethan joins me on the balcony, wrapping his arms around my waist. Everything okay? Giovanni got a call from my mother, but he handled it perfectly. I lean back against him. He's taking extra security precautions just to be safe. Let's just focus on us, Ethan says, his voice steady in my ear. What happens in Miami doesn't matter. Standing there in the growing darkness, I realize how much I've changed. 6 months ago, my mother's call would have sent me into a tailspin of guilt and doubt. Now I feel centered, prepared, focused on creating something beautiful rather than reacting to their attempts to diminish me. The time for strategic preparation is ending. Next week, we'll board a plane to Italy, and all our careful planning will come to fruition. I can almost smell the jasmine and olive groves, feel the warm Mediterranean breeze on my skin as we exchange vows. Whatever storm my family might be brewing, we're ready. A week later, my phone buzzes at dawn. I've been up for hours anyway, organizing our photography timeline for the ceremony. Ethan sleeps peacefully beside me, his breathing steady and deep. The caller ID reads, "Mom," and my stomach tightens. I take my coffee to the balcony before answering. "Hello? You need to cancel Italy." Margaret's voice sounds different, not her usual controlled displeasure, but something sharper, more dangerous. "That's not happening." I watch a seagull land on the railing across from me. "Listen carefully, Courtney. If you go through with this, you'll never be welcome in this family again." The seagull takes flight as a car horn blares below. My fingers tighten around my mug. "I don't understand why my wedding threatens you so much. Don't try to twist this. You know exactly what you're doing." Her voice vibrates with rage. 1 month before Lily's wedding? After everything we've done for you? A familiar male voice comes through the speaker. "Dad, they've put me on speakerphone." "You've always been selfish," Richard says, his disappointment cutting through the morning air. "This proves it." I move back inside, not wanting neighbors to hear this conversation. "I'm getting married to the person I love in a place that means something to us." "How is that selfish?" "Lily's been hospitalized with anxiety attacks because of you," Margaret says. My heart stops. "What? Is she okay?" "As if you care." Her voice drips with venom. "Her doctor says the stress you're causing could affect her long-term health." The lie hangs between us. I've seen Lily's Instagram stories from her bachelorette party in the Bahamas 3 days ago, laughing on a yacht, cocktail in hand. "That's not true," I say quietly. "I saw her posts from the Bahamas." A pause. She pushed herself to go because she didn't want to disappoint her bridesmaids. My phone buzzes with a text. It's my cousin Rachel. "Is it true you're stealing Lily's thunder? Everyone's talking about it." "Go. Your grandmother may not be around for another wedding," Dad adds, his strategic guilt perfectly timed. "She's heartbroken you'd choose a foreign ceremony she can't attend." My grandmother, who, according to Aunt Pamela, hasn't left Florida in 15 years. Your cousin Rachel agrees with us. Margaret continues, so do the Petersons. Even Julie thinks you're being cruel. Julie. My childhood best friend who moved to Australia 5 years ago and hasn't spoken to my mother since. You're lying. I say, surprising myself with how steady my voice sounds. Julie hasn't spoken to you in years. Another call beeps through Uncle Frank. Then a text from my mother's neighbor, Susan. Honey, are you sure about this Italian wedding? Sounds expensive and unnecessary. The coordinated assault is almost impressive. Cancel Italy, Margaret says again, or accept that you're no longer part of this family. My throat tightens. Is that what Lily wants too? This is coming from all of us. You've pushed your sister to her breaking point. I walk to the wall where Ethan and I have pinned our wedding plans, local olive branches and jasmine flowers, the cliffside view at sunset, our handwritten vows. I touch the corner of a photo, showing Giovanni's villa bathed in golden light. I'll think about what you've said. I tell them, not because I'm considering cancellation, but because I need this call to end. After hanging up, I sit at our kitchen counter, hands trembling despite my calm words. Ethan emerges from the bedroom, instantly reading the situation. Your parents? He asks, reaching for my hand. I nod. They've escalated. Complete family excommunication if we don't cancel. He pours coffee and sits beside me. Are you okay? I'm angry. They're coordinating a full-scale attack, getting relatives and friends to pressure me. I show him the texts. They even claimed Lily's been hospitalized with anxiety. His jaw tightens. That's a new low. I think we should call Adam about security for the ceremony, I say. Just in case. Ethan nods. Already ahead of you. Spoke with him yesterday. He knows a local guy in Amalfi who can be discreet. I look at him with surprise. What? I heard your mom on the phone with Aunt Carol last week. I knew this was coming. He squeezes my hand. This is about us, Court. Not them. We spend the day finalizing details. I call our photographer friends who'll be documenting the ceremony, confirming their travel arrangements. Ethan contacts the videographer who'll capture everything documentary style. Giovanni emails confirming the jasmine and olive branch arrangements. By sunset, we've adapted our plans to account for potential disruptions without sacrificing our vision. The villa will have subtle security. Our guest list remains unchanged. 25 people who've consistently supported us. My phone rings again just after midnight. Lily. I answer hesitantly. Hello? Did Mom call you? Her voice sounds strained. Nothing like her usual confident tone. Yes. A long pause. I didn't ask her to. I say nothing. Waiting. Is it beautiful? She asks finally. The place in Italy? The question catches me off guard. Yes. It overlooks the Mediterranean. The light at sunset is perfect for photographs. She makes a small sound, almost like longing. 25 guests? Just people who matter to us. Another pause. Part of me wishes I was having your wedding instead of mine. The admission hangs between us. 230 people I barely know. Most of them are Bradley's family connections. For the first time, I feel something other than anger or hurt. I feel sorry for her. It's not too late to change things. I offer, though I know she won't. You know I can't. Her voice hardens again. Mom would never forgive me. Mom's forgiveness seems pretty conditional these days. Lily laughs without humor. Always has been. She pauses. I should go. Bradley's waiting. Lily. Just. Take good pictures, okay? The line goes dead. The next morning, Ethan and I stand in the airport terminal with our luggage. Our flight to Naples boards in 20 minutes. From there, we'll drive along the Amalfi Coast to Giovanni's villa. Last chance to back out, Ethan says, his eyes telling me he knows I won't. I look down at our boarding passes, then at the photo on my phone, Giovanni's villa against the Italian sunset. The perfect backdrop for a photographer's wedding. I think of my mother's ultimatum, my father's disappointment, my sister's whispered confession. No turning back, I say, slipping my hand into his. We board the plane, finding our seats by the window. As the aircraft begins taxiing, I review our wedding vows one last time. Words that honor our chosen family. Words that speak to the life we're building, not the one I'm leaving behind. Ethan leans over to kiss my temple. This is about us, not them. The plane accelerates down the runway, lifting into the air. Below us, Seattle grows smaller until it disappears beneath the clouds. Ahead lies Italy, Giovanni's villa, and the ceremony that will decide everything. I close my eyes and finally allow myself to feel excitement. No matter what happens with my family, in 3 days I'll marry Ethan in the golden Mediterranean light, surrounded by people who truly see me. No turning back. I whisper again, this time with certainty instead of fear. On our wedding day, I stand at the edge of Giovanni's villa terrace, breathing in the scent of jasmine that winds through the iron railings. The September sun hangs low over the Amalfi Coast, bathing everything in that perfect golden light I've spent years chasing through my camera lens. Is it everything you hoped for? Ethan asks, sliding his arm around my waist. Better, I whisper, my voice caught somewhere between awe and disbelief. The Mediterranean spreads before us, a canvas of deep blue dotted with fishing boats returning to harbor. Behind us, our 25 guests mingle on the stone patio where white wooden chairs face an arbor draped with olive branches and jasmine vines. Giovanni approaches, his weathered face creased with genuine pleasure. The light is perfetto today, he says, gesturing toward the horizon. In 40 years filming here, I have never seen it more beautiful, he squeezes my hand. Your photographer friends are setting up now, they say the conditions are ideal. I nod, unable to form words. After years of capturing other couples' memories, today my vision will shape my own wedding. James and Vanessa, 2 photographers I've collaborated with for years, position themselves at opposite ends of the terrace. Not competing, but complementing, capturing different angles of the same authentic moment. Just as we planned. 10 minutes, Ethan's friend Marcus announces, adjusting his camera rig for the documentary filming we've arranged. No staged moments, no artificial poses, just truth. I retreat to the villa's master bedroom, where my simple silk dress hangs by the window. The fabric catches the breeze, dancing slightly. Not a princess gown like Lily's, but exactly what I would have chosen for my most important client. As I slip it on, I remember all those brides I've photographed, their nervous excitement, their transformative joy, and finally understand. When I emerge onto the terrace, the guests rise. Their faces? Friends who've celebrated my successes when family wouldn't? Clients whose weddings became friendships? Colleagues who respect my vision reflect back the person I am, rather than the diminished version my family insists upon. The guitarist begins playing Northern Sky by Nick Drake. Not the wedding march, but a song Ethan and I discovered during our first road trip together. I walk toward him alone, no one giving me away because I belong to myself first. Ethan watches me approach, his expression open with wonder. Not the polite admiration of a groom seeing a bride in white, but the genuine recognition of someone seeing their partner choosing joy. The officiant welcomes everyone as the sun begins its final descent toward the horizon. The timing is perfect, exactly when photographers call the golden hour. Light spills across the terrace, casting everything in rich, warm tones that need no filter. Marriage isn't just the joining of two people, the officiant says, but the creation of a new story, one written together, day by day. Ethan's voice stays steady as he recites his vows. I promise to see you, not just look at you, but truly see you. To celebrate your success as my own. To build a home where your light is never dimmed. My hands tremble slightly as I unfold my paper. I promise to stand tall beside you. To create beauty without apology. To remember that love doesn't require permission. As we exchange rings, the Mediterranean turns to liquid gold behind us. James shifts positions, capturing the moment the light catches the simple bands. Vanessa crouches low, framing us against the coastline. They move with practiced precision, executing our strategy with perfect coordination. When the officiant pronounces us married, applause erupts from our chosen family. No polite golf claps or obligatory smiles, just genuine celebration from people who want us to succeed. During the intimate dinner that follows, our documentary team captures the authentic laughter, the spontaneous embraces, the quiet moments of connection that marketing campaigns can never manufacture. Giovanni rises for a toast, his Italian accent growing stronger with emotion. I have seen many American movies about weddings, he says, drawing chuckles from our guests. Always there is drama, always someone objects. But true love, he pauses, looking directly at me, true love requires courage to claim your own story. I glance at Ethan, who squeezes my hand under the table. My own story, not the supporting character in someone else's. The evening unfolds exactly as I envisioned. The guitarist plays soft melodies as twilight deepens. Strings of lights illuminate the terrace where our friends dance without self-consciousness. No forced traditions, no performative cake cutting, no obligatory dances with fathers who diminish you. Hey. James approaches, his camera hanging at his side. I got something earlier I think you should see. He shows me his camera display, a shot taken during the ceremony, Ethan and I in profile, our hands joined, the Mediterranean spread behind us in a wash of gold and blue. The angle captures the jasmine vines framing us perfectly, while the light creates a natural halo effect. It's exactly what I would have composed for my highest paying client. Do you mind if I post this one? James asks. It's special. I nod, suddenly unable to speak. As James walks away to upload the image, Vanessa appears at my side. That's going to break the internet, she predicts, nodding toward James' retreating figure. It's just a wedding photo, I say automatically. The habit of minimizing my success is still strong. No, she corrects gently. It's art. Later, as Ethan and I share a quiet moment at the terrace edge, my phone begins buzzing with notifications. James' single image has exploded online. 800 comments already. Ethan murmurs, scrolling through my phone. Listen to this one. Most beautiful ceremony I've ever seen. From Helena Baxter. From Helena Baxter. The Helena Baxter? I ask, disbelieving. Helena Baxter, whose wedding photography book sits on my desk at home, whose work inspired me to pursue this career. Ethan nods, continuing to scroll. The Italian Tourism Board just reshared it with Wedding of the Year caption. The notifications keep coming. Industry professionals asking who captured the image. Magazines requesting permission to feature it. And most significantly, comments from people I've never met, moved by the authentic joy radiating from the photograph. This is what they were afraid of. Ethan says quietly. Not that you'd ruin Lily's wedding, but that you'd prove them wrong. I lean against him, watching stars emerge above the darkening Mediterranean. For years, I've captured other people's happiest moments. Today, I created my own. Marcus approaches, documentary camera still rolling. You've created something extraordinary, Court, he says, using Ethan's nickname for me. Giovanni joins us, his weathered face serene in the soft evening light. Your vision has honored this place, he says simply. Many Americans come to take from Italy's beauty. You have added to it. As the evening deepens, James returns, his face alight with excitement. You need to see this, your photo just hit 1 million views. InStyle magazine commented asking for contact information. I check my phone again, surprised to find texts from extended family members, cousins and aunts, who declined our invitation. Words of admiration and, perhaps more tellingly, regret. But their validation no longer matters. The success of this day isn't measured in views or comments or even professional recognition. It's measured in the authentic joy captured in James's photograph. It's measured in the chosen family surrounding us. It's measured in the fact that for the first time in my life, I didn't make myself smaller to make someone else feel bigger. As midnight approaches, Ethan and I slip away from the celebration to a quiet corner of Giovanni's garden. Above us, stars scatter across the Italian sky like diamonds on velvet. "How does it feel?" Ethan asks softly. I consider his question carefully, searching for the perfect words. In this moment, I am not Courtney the second choice, Courtney the attention seeker, Courtney who must be diminished. I am simply Courtney, artist, partner, creator of my own story. It feels like stepping into the best photograph I've ever taken. I reply. And realizing I'm finally exactly where I belong, I wake to sunlight streaming through our bedroom window, casting golden patterns across the sheets. 6 months after our Amalfi Coast wedding, the familiar tightness in my chest when thinking about my family has dissolved into something lighter. My phone buzzes with notifications. 3 major wedding magazines want feature stories on what industry blogs now call the Amalfi Revolution. A smile forms as I remember the moment that image went viral, sunset bathing Ethan and me in amber light. Our hands clasped as we exchanged vows against the Mediterranean backdrop, Giovanni's ancient olive trees framing the scene. "Still can't believe it," Ethan mumbles, rolling toward me. He reaches for my hand, his thumb brushing my wedding band. "Which part?" I ask. "All of it." He gestures toward my laptop where the Netflix contract sits open. "Documentary about redefining wedding photography." "That's you, Court." The proposal arrived yesterday. They want to follow me through a year of weddings, documenting how I capture authentic moments. The director called it revolutionary storytelling through still images. My phone buzzes again. Another text from Lily. Unlike my mother's cold silence and my father's brief, formal congratulations, Lily has been reaching out since her Miami wedding. "Yours looked more like you than mine looked like me," reads her latest message. I set the phone down without responding. She sent similar texts since the photos spread across social media, each one a small acknowledgement of what I've always known, that authenticity matters more than perfection. The transformation in my life feels almost surreal. I sleep without the weight of seeking approval. I make decisions without second guessing. When I review client galleries, I trust my eye completely. "We should call Giovanni," Ethan says, getting up. "The foundation paperwork should be almost ready." The Love Without Permission Foundation, our newest venture supporting artists facing family disapproval. Giovanni became more than our wedding venue host. He's now our partner in creating grants for photographers whose vision others try to diminish. "I have the family I've chosen," I say, the words settling into truth. Later that afternoon, I sit in my studio, reviewing portfolios from wedding clients. My waitlist stretches 6 months out, filled exclusively with couples who value my documentary approach. No more saying yes to every job. No more hiding my vision to please others. On my wall hangs a collection of family photographs I once kept hidden in drawers. I look at them now without pain. My 12-year-old self holding that first photography trophy. My graduation with my camera around my neck while my family focused on Lily. These images tell a story of becoming, not of loss. The contrast with that day 7 months ago feels profound. When my mother called to uninvite me from Lily's wedding, I sat cross-legged among shattered coffee cups and ruined prints. Today, I sit surrounded by international awards and images that speak my truth. My assistant knocks lightly before entering. "Your 3 o'clock is here," the young photographer from Portland? Jessica Thomas arrives clutching a portfolio case, her hands trembling slightly. At 22, she reminds me painfully of myself. Talented but uncertain, her eyes darting around my studio with a familiar hunger for validation. "My parents think photography is a hobby, not a career," she explains, after showing me brilliant evocative images of Pacific Northwest weddings. "They want me to finish my accounting degree." 5 years ago, I would have offered sympathy and platitudes. Today, I recognize the moment for what it is, a chance to break a cycle. "Your vision matters," I tell her, meeting her eyes directly. "Don't diminish it for anyone." I explain the mentorship program I've launched, connecting young photographers with established professionals who understand family pressure. "Your light doesn't diminish anyone else's," I say, words I wish someone had told me years earlier. Jessica leaves with a spot in our workshop series and tears in her eyes. As the door closes behind her, Ethan walks in with his camera. "Documenting another transformation?" I ask, nodding toward his lens. "The foundation wants footage for the website launch." He sets up his tripod. 3 photographers have already secured exhibitions through our grants. The series on chosen family premieres next month. I think about how completely the frame has shifted. My mother once told me to make myself smaller for Lily's wedding. Instead, I created something true to my vision that helped others stand taller. That evening, I stand before a crowd accepting the International Vision Award for Wedding Photography. The applause washes over me as I approach the podium. The faces looking back include colleagues who documented our Amalfi ceremony, clients whose authentic moments I've captured, and Jessica sitting proudly in the front row. The frames we choose define the story we tell. I begin, voice steady and strong. For years, I allowed others to frame my story through their limitations. I accepted being cropped out, pushed to the background, my colors muted. The room grows quiet. Authenticity isn't selfish, I continue. It's the greatest gift you can give. To yourself and to others seeking permission to shine. As I hold the award, I think about that broken coffee cup on my floor, the ruined photographs, the moment when everything changed. The truth crystallizes in my mind with perfect clarity. When people try to make you smaller, that's when you need to stand tallest.